you rely on just about anything that you can get your hands on. There's nothing better. But I hope that it is a girl's best friend for a few years, whenever they're going through. So things like measuring a bra, things like body hair, things like body odor, boys, their place in the universe, the the whole idea of what is a no, uh, safety, online safety. So we've dealt with a lot of stuff which is that whole period and time for young girls, where the curiosity is at its peak, but there isn't legitimate information. So it's not too much information, it's diagrammatic, it's reasonably simple, enough for kids to understand and to have a decent base for them to then navigate that time.
You spoke about getting this book into schools. Are you planning on any sort of activation which will take this book and these conversations into schools and into places where young girls are?
Well, I think now that when the book first came out, we had to sort of shut that conversation down in a week because not just half the country, but all of us also got COVID. So this was the deadly second wave, and so it just seemed highly inappropriate to talk about this, and the time wasn't right, and then there was a lot of changes in the publication itself. And so we found a time now to be able to bring this book out, and now we're going to see how we, manage to make it a lot more mainstream, because as I see on several mom groups, they're constantly saying that, look, if you've written this book, then why don't you take it at least to Tara School, which is JBCN. So bring it there, let's talk about the book, let's get boys and girls equally to read it so that there's information about this. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to do some work in that area.
Lovely. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this conversation gets normalized. You're very lucky Tara read this book. I wrote a book for Krish, The Boy's Guide to Puberty, to Growing Up. He never read it.
Oh.
So thank you for, upholding your mother's writing efforts. With that, I'm going to throw the floor open to questions. I'm sure you have many questions and I'm not going to hog the mic here. Hands up.
I want to ask you. So, this book is not just about puberty and periods. So it deals with a lot of emotions. Right? So what are the kinds of emotions you've talked in this? Especially during your growing up. What are the kind of?
I think primarily one has embarrassment. One is awkward as a teenager. One doesn't know what the hell is going on and what are all these surges of feelings. So Tara, for example, knows that, we've had a conversation where we've chatted about the fact that, sometimes you feel excessively emotional and that might be coming from your hormones. And after some time when it calms down, you'll understand that my behavior was being a little weird. So you can take some time out and calm yourself down and then come back and we can resume the conversation so that at least you understand what's happening to you. Otherwise it's like, what's going on? So I think there was a lot of awkwardness, there was a lot of embarrassment, there was a lot of like hush hush, nudge nudge surrounding this. So that sort of thing primarily.
Do you have any boys coming up to you and, someone who's read? I know of one boy who was read, but
I have not so far, no.
my
Boys
son has
need
read
to
it.
read this book.
My son has read it. He's 11 years old, and I ensured that he reads it with his friends. So yeah, two boys I know that have read.
Questions?
Anyone else?
This is the scariest moment when hands don't go up. So please put your hands up.
हेलो हाय मैम जैसे कि हम जानते हैं कि कोई भी बुक अगर हम लिखते हैं तो उसके पीछे का एक बहुत बड़ा रीजंस होते हैं या फिर मेहनत होती है तो शुरुआत कहाँ से हुई इस बुक को एज अ राइटिंग पब्लिक के सामने लाना
शुरुआत ये मेरी एडिटर है यहाँ पे मेरी भार्गवा, ये मेरी जूनियर है स्कूल से, मेरे भाई की क्लास में थी, मेरे को टिस्का दीदी बुलाती थी और इन्होंने ये आइडिया मुझे प्रपोज किया लॉकडाउन में। और पहले मैंने बोला कि नहीं, आई डोंट थिंक, ये वो। शी सेड बट प्लीज़ थिंक अबाउट इट बिकॉज ऐसी किताब की बहुत ज़रूरत है। आप इसको एक माँ की तरफ से अपनी बेटी के लिए एक लेटर के रूप में लिख सकते हैं So then the idea evolved, we discussed, then I started writing. We thought initially that we'll do it January, February, March, every month of the year, 12 chapter ऐसे करेंगे. But then we, went back and forth, and lockdown का अच्छा इस्तेमाल हुआ, and I was able to take inputs from Vidhi, from Dr. Mala, from Dr. Malvika, and actually write the book.
Yes, Khushbu.
Hi Kiran, hi Tisca. Because I can see it's about puberty, periods, pimples, people, a lot of P's, we've talked about periods and we're talking about puberty. All of us, all girls here have gone through the same. But what's your message as a mother to all other mothers out there? Because like you said, there are a lot of expectations. Suddenly there are a lot of filters once you enter the puberty stage. Girl is supposed to sit with crossed legs, and then you're supposed to maybe not have hair on body. I don't know why. And your mustache is suddenly, everybody has mustache, but we can't. And it's funny because I remember I went out to take out my mustache for the first time, and when I came back home, my dad was playing cards with his cousins, and he just looked at me and said, "You look strange, you look different today." And I was like, no, I'm fine, I'm fine. So it's about a lot about body language, not body language, about body acceptability, because the world is harsh for growing up girls. Your breast size, your height, your color, your complexion, your pimples on your face, it's gross. Like, nobody talks about boys' pimples. So I'm asking you, how can parents, especially mothers, help an adolescent girl navigate through all of that? Because it's very important.
Thank you, Khushbu. I think it's a relevant question, very relevant question, and thank you for it. And this is not just for mothers of daughters, it's for mothers of sons as well. There was this one story that was floating around on the internet or on WhatsApp chats, that there was this boy who knew about periods because he had a sister or his mother had told him about it, and there was a girl who bled in a school bus, and he gave her his sweater because her skirt got stained, and he gave her her sweater, his sweater or his jacket, and she was able to leave the bus without getting embarrassed, and he saw her home or whatever. I think that we in Bombay or Delhi or Bangalore or Calcutta, as mothers, as women, are so aware of everything. But in smaller towns, there's still misinformation regarding certain things. We know the temple situation, we know situations where girls are still not allowed to enter the kitchen, they're not made to sleep in the same room, there's all sorts of strange things that go around, because India's many Indias, it's not just one India. So in that sense, I feel that if the book has the possibility of a translation, if it goes to schools, if it becomes a more mainstream conversation, there'll be less suffering for men and women, because eventually if a woman is awkward, she's maladjusted, she brings that to the relationships in her life. So if mothers, daughters, sons, fathers can read this book together, chapter by chapter, discuss it openly, I mean, what's the big deal? We're getting more and more woke as we're talking about, body shaming. You can no longer say fat. It's you'll say other things for that. You're probably, I don't know what they're using for saying fat. Healthy. Yeah. You're healthy, or I would say horizontally challenged, or like whatever it is that you want to, vertically challenged, or I don't know what, something they would say. But the idea being that as we are evolving as a species, we're getting closer and closer to an idea of more decency, more acceptance, more inclusivity, more equality. And I hope that this is a small, tiny little splish splash in that pool, where young girls have a lot more support, a lot more legitimacy, because knowledge is power. So if they have that knowledge with them, which is backed by science, and there's diagrams and there's other things. So if they can read it and understand for themselves that this, I'm not sick. If somebody says, nahi, nahi, ye nahi karna, they'll say, why? What do you mean? Why should I not? And then they have logic behind it, and they can take a stand, and that I hope is what happens, because how Sanjay and I have sort of our style of parenting has been to call a vagina, a penis, a breast, breasts. So there's no like hichi and some strange shying away code words, nicknames for things, because why? What is this whole embarrassment around the body? Every body has a body. And then we need to like talk about it in a very sort of scientific fashion, particularly when it comes to things which can impact a child. I mean, you're most sensitive when you're an adolescent. So you need to have that kind of support. There can be such awkwardness with growing breasts. What is the right bra? What is the right kind of support you need? How to measure body hair, like you said about your mustache. I mean, these things can make a person very, very awkward. So I think the wish is to open all of this up and take the shame away. That's the wish.
And eventually, hopefully, the girl who had to tie the sweater around would not be in a situation where she felt embarrassed that she was stained. It would be perfectly normal.
Actually, I read the first chapter, and there was a topic for breast, perfect fit, the section was called. I wanted to know is, actually in my body, near my breast, there are scars, there are like stretch marks, and I have nobody who actually have stretch marks at my particular age. So I never had that body positivity around me. So what is your say upon that? Like as a mother, if you know that this is a bit different, your child is growing up quicker than other child, and plus it's always different for different people. So what is your say on the topic of growing quicker than your particular age? Is that worrying or is that normal?
So in a particular section of the book, I don't remember where specifically, we've spoken about the idea that we're an interesting bouquet, human beings. We're tall, short, wide, narrow, and there is no standard. The times are such that everybody is questioning beauty standards. We are questioning that why is fair beautiful? Why is sultry not beautiful? Particularly in India, most people are, we have a wonderful skin tone. Our olive skin tone is beautiful. But there is that idea of gori chitti and all of that. So somebody growing faster and that causing stretch marks, it's all beautiful. It's all part of the journey of your life, of your own individual imprint. And I think that when you love yourself, I know it's a very big idea to put out there and say, you must love yourself, and it sounds like somebody's preaching. But it starts with these simple things to say, yeah, this is